Well, it's often said don't pass on a deer you'd shoot on the last day of the hunt when you see him on the first day of the hunt. But with a rut going on and 5 days ahead of you, it's often done. Now, in this episode of the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries, we spend time in the field with Steve Nessl as he talks about one deer that's been haunting him.
Spent the last night at the Whitetail Bluff with no luck, but we had a little bit of a change in plans based on where Wade sat last night. He saw a deer that I spent some time with last year, so this is a little bit of a year in the making for me. I saw this buck that we're gonna hunt this morning about the same time last year, and watched him for an entire, I think it was a morning sit, and then whichever was, I regretted not taking him at the time, and I hunted him the rest of my trip and ended up not getting a deer this time last year. So I don't know if I'm nostalgic and just plain dumb that I'm gonna start hunting this guy again. I only have today to do it, but we're gonna go sit where we saw him last year, same spot, and same goal is to hopefully have him come out in front and confirm he's as cool as I think he is, because I saw some more footage of him, and hopefully get a shot at him. And we got a long walk in, so we're gonna get going and get the X4 and the rest of our gear up into the stand and settle. So I'm sitting there and the sun's starting to come up, and I see another doe, and I'm glassing straight out from me, kind of over the top of this one ridge that's out front at about 150 yards, when all of a sudden, all I see are horns. And I know right away it's him. And it sounds silly, and people are like, whatever, but I do. From the shape of his horns, from the footage I saw from the night before, I know he's darker, but just the way they look. I don't even see the top of his head. I just see his horns kind of doing this over the top of the ridge, and I yelled at Kevin, there he is. And he says, where? And I can't, so we're pointing at each other, and all of a sudden, by the time he's full frame, as far as me and the binoculars and Kevin, we've got him. And he's one of 4 deer in the setup. I mean, usually there can be upwards of 2 dozen. I don't know if that's because of the rutting action or just what happens at Wahia Ridge this time of year, but there are 4 deer in front of me. It's now only 7:15, so it happened quickly. And the deer, my 8, is one of them.
Steve is hunting the area called the Wahia Ridge, and he's been reunited with a huge buck from last year that he passed on.
I don't want to call it a gamble, but our hunch paid off. That 8-point that I passed on last year, like an idiot, me being the idiot, is back exact same spot I saw him. I hunted him and sat here several more times last year, never got a whiff of him, but we're right about it, shooting light, and he's out in front. So if he hangs out for a few more minutes, I'm probably gonna get the gun up and give him a go.
A little wrinkle in the whole plan was at about the time the deer showed up. My 8 walks in, so do this, I don't think this is an exaggeration, so do 60 sheep in a single file line from off to my left, down the road, up towards, just in and amongst the ridge, all around. It's almost like a snow-capped blanket it's just ridiculous. There are sheep everywhere. But okay. I mean, it's something we're gonna have to deal with. We're on a working ranch, they're there. So we also have to worry about getting this deer broadside, but away from the sheep, away from the does that are around him. So it's a little bit of a hassle. It's not anything we can't deal with, but it's a little strange to be trying to knock down a big mature buck when you got a bunch of bang going on around you. And it wasn't necessarily a distraction, but it was a little weird.
There's a deer behind him, otherwise I'd take that shot. Are you good? I'm on him. There you go. Okay.
lost him. I lost him. I lost him. I need to look for him. Gun's clear. Oh, what a glorious mess. Sorry, sheep. Oh, I see he's down. I see he's down. He's right there. He's right there. What an awesome deer. Dare I say it, what a story, man. I haven't been agonizing over the fact that I didn't shoot at that deer last year, but I have been regretting it. And the fact that he showed up a year later, and I don't know yet, but when we go put our hands on him, because he's right there, I can see him. I love no tracking jobs. It means I did my job. Thank you, sir.
You got it, man. Excellent.
Thank you, sir. He's just a cool old deer. I think he's a little bit, he looks a lot thicker to me. He looks darker in his horns. I'm gonna have to go back and look at footage from last year.
So give me the whole story. I mean,
last year in this spot, I watched this deer walk in, and he was 20 paces off to my left when I watched him walk in, and I'm immediately taken by him and watched him the whole, I think it was an afternoon. And he was a dominant buck. He got into one of the most epic fights I've ever seen in my life. And I was on the verge of getting the gun up right before he got into that fight. It just got too late, too dark, and I got mad at myself. And I hunted him. Whenever we could come back to this stand with the wind being good, we came back for the rest of my hunt last year until I had to run out of time. Never saw him again. Never saw him again. And then almost probably a little bit more than a year later, he blessed us with his presence. He came in from back behind a little ridge. I watched him. I'm shaking. I watched him walk in. My knees are going. Just saw the horns before I saw anything coming over the top of the brush. It's probably about a 140, 150 yard shot, which for me, I guess I didn't think too much about, luckily, because I made a second guess myself, but I had a good sight picture with the scope, and I mean, we know exactly where he is. He's still, that's a long walk from the stand though. Heck yes. Heck yes. Heck yes. Look. Oh. Oh man. That big guy. Yep. He actually broke. He's trying to grow a little, trying to be a 9-point, but you are cool as is, big guy. Look at that. Look at this. That is just awesome. I say it too much, but my requisites for a buck are that they're cool and old. And just this year, I've had the opportunity to take a couple, and he is there at the top of the list. Look at this stuff. See how his horns, they go forward? He's so cool, so awesome. He's just a whole ton of cool and everything. I mean, just awesome. Awesome. I just love the way it looks from the first time I saw him, which was last year. And I love the way he looks even more now. Much character to it. The twos come up, curve and kind of curl in, and this stuff, this mass all the way through here. Just carries it so far. What a cool old buck. Thank you, buddy.
We loaded him up in the X4, drove him back to camp. We shared him right away with another group that was there and heard the shot and were waiting on us. They knew the deer we were chasing. It became a camp type effort, to be honest with you. you know, took some pictures right there, got him back. Wade saw him, and we're all just blown away by how cool this deer was. And I think the underlying thing is some of the history and the backstory to it, and the fact that he'd been there the year before. And man, it's so much fun. And for a day and a half to be able to get that done, to make a plan and have things unfold, and it's just a cool deal. And I'm super glad to be a part of it and to have the opportunity, lucky enough to be able to chase a deer like that in consecutive years. And now he's in the cooler, and it's fun to be able to live this, to do this, to get good, mature deer, but to hopefully help other people want to do the same thing for the future. And I'll tag along and go along for that ride as much as I can.